This is Gangsta Warfare News tuning in with a topic. GWB will always take a deep dive in stories and documented series of economic problems people face in society's underworld of criminal activity, and better sources of stopping crime in an all-time high. For more information, hit the like, share, and subscribe for more. The war on drugs in the favelas is like the unimaginable, especially when you're under the scope of narco-terrorists. The favelas are known to be the most deadly and cold-blooded places in Rio's poorest districts. History shows the most modern favelas appeared in the 1970s due to rural exodus, when many people left rural areas of Brazil and moved to cities. Unable to find places to live, many people found themselves in favelas. Census data released in December 2011 by the Brazilian Institute of Geography and Statistics, IBG, showed that in 2010 about 6% of the Brazilian population lived in favelas and other slums. Favelas are located in 323 of the 5,565 Brazilian municipalities. In 2022, census indicated that there were 12,348 favelas and urban communities, with 16,390,815 individuals, or 8.1% of the country's population. However, as one report states, there is inherent difficulty to measure these territories as they are extremely dynamic and to a great extent do not have either officially established boundaries or registered housing units. But in plain terms, the favelas has and has always had a history of violence, dominantly violence involving gangs, whether they were foreign or domestic. The people of the favelas will always be under the barrel of a high-powered rifle watching their every move. Brazil has been on the verge of having a systematic era of corruption on people's rights, with the uprising of political parties standing against far-left movements from not praising another dictatorship that once again will rule corruption and genocide on the people of Brazil. Most of the time, people will see this as a human rights issue, but it is hopeless places like Brazil that don't have proper structure or healthy environments to give the people a better opportunity in life. Especially when you're no longer on the luxury beaches and historical tropical islands of Rio de Janeiro. Instead, you walked in a pit of fire into eternal suffering, constant bloodshed and humiliation, life-traumatic diagnosis to the point where you realize what you got yourself into. And that's a cool sweep in hell, called the favelas. And the devil is the creator of a mad-killing machine, a transnational antagonist, and the favela's eternal suffering, known as its birthright, the Comando Vermelho, Portuguese for Red Command, or CV, is one of Brazil's oldest and largest criminal organizations, originating in 1979 from a prison alliance in Rio de Janeiro between inmates and political prisoners. It is primarily involved in drug trafficking, arms smuggling, and violent turf wars, maintaining a significant presence in favelas. The Commando controls parts of Rio de Janeiro and has expanded to other states and into neighboring countries. It has fought in several small-scale conflicts with rival gangs such as Primeiro Comando da Capital, PCC, Amigos dos Amigos, ADA, and Terceiro Comando, TC, the latter itself the result of a power struggle between Commando Vermelho leaders in the mid-1980s. Meanwhile, the CV began to spread beyond prison gates. While many of its original members were bank robbers, the group quickly became involved in the burgeoning cocaine market. CV members helped traffic drugs overseas for Colombian cartels and distributed cocaine into the local Rio de Janeiro market. The cocaine trade proved incredibly lucrative and the CV grew rapidly. By the end of 1985, the gang already controlled 70% of the drug market in the favelas of Rio de Janeiro. During this period, the CV became increasingly involved in the provision of social services and administration of justice for the favela communities which it controlled. In exchange for the cooperation of favela residents, the CV prohibited theft, robbery, and rape, and provided public goods like school supplies, medical equipment, and food distribution for the poor. The official end of the military dictatorship in 1985 marked the end of all remaining ties between the leftist guerrillas and the CV. Many of the guerrillas re-entered society and rose inside political parties. Some would go on to hold elected office. The Red Command gang of Rio de Janeiro in the favelas has terrorized the people of Brazil for decades, as well as its local communities and districts. Red Command drew international attention so bad to the point where days later the city of the favelas of Rio de Janeiro will be under flames. As an intense gang war breaks out between CV and its arch-rival PCC. The war led to a widespread drug raid by the police doubling up with special arms forces and the Brazilian army cracking down on gangs and narco-terrorist organizations. Eventually, the war will instantly regenerate in the neighboring countries who have connections with these gangs. Definitely places like Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Mexico, and Cuba. The main places that are known to be narco states. The raid occurred just days before major international events in Rio, including the C40 World Mayors Summit and Prince William's Earthshot Prize. Despite the scale of the violence, residents and experts suggest the operation had a negligible impact on dismantling the Red Command, as armed gang members were seen roaming the streets the very next day. Zap. The murder rate is rocking sky high, the national average. The constant pain and trauma that affects the people is now observed. Local Brazilians feel like there is no hope left, and they're trapped in a torture chamber. Every day, all day is war. Terrifying sounds of anger and cries. People pray for change, but the prayers continue to get silent. People feel like an outsider in the land where they gave birth at, and eventually, they will have to flee to another country or come to the United States to start a better life. But what Americans or other natives don't realize that other countries don't have the same experience of murder as you see in America. In America, murder is an everyday thing. Overseas is a life thing. And in worst cases, it leads to an eternal humanitarian crisis. This is just not a gang issue. It's a sick, twisted cycle on people, on families, on the world, and there's no turning back. This is Natural Text, Gangsta Warfare News.